Just a quick spin round the F800. Right, today we're going over the controls of the BMW F800 GT. We'll start off with the dials. You have the calibrated speedo on the top, you have the rev counter on the bottom, and you have the display unit on the right hand side. If I switch it on, you see it goes through its checks and you should only have two lights flashing. That's the ASC light, the stability control, and the ABS. Again, these will go out once you start moving, so don't worry about them. We go over to display unit. You can see that you have the time, the miles, fuel gauge and temperature gauge. Now the fuel gauge is a bit different as it only shows you half a tank. Once the level in the tank goes above half, you will get like a little arrow shaded in so it looks like a roof. So you know you're more than half a tank full. You don't know how full it is. When it is used and goes below half, that little arrow disappears and you will get the normal display. Here's a shot of the fuel gauge with the arrow. You can just see it just there. Shows you that it only goes halfway, and then it's like an arrow shows you that it's over half full. How much? I don't know. We'll now concentrate on the controls on the right hand side. On the top you've got the heated grips. There are two settings. You press it the third time to switch off. You'll know these are on by looking at the display. If you look at the top left hand corner of the display, there's the heated grips going on once. Second setting, they're now off. Okay. Next to it, underneath it, is the start switch. Very simple, normal, and to stop. Okay. Then go to the left hand side, you've got your blue lights. Press down for the front, press down for the rear. The third one does not work. Okay, just show you. There's the front blues. There's the rear blues with blue flashing lights as well. Okay. So that's all on the right hand side. If we now go over to the left hand side, it's a bit more complicated, but if we go to the top first, it's your headlight flashing. Now this cannot be used during the day unless it's with accompanying blue lights. Then you've got your rear lights. You press once for flashing and solid, second for solid, third for off. So if I press it once, go back to the rear, there's the flashing, press it twice, be solid, and press it the third time, it should be off. Okay, there should be a light in there to show you whether they're on or not, but it doesn't look like it's working, so be careful of that. On the left you've got your info button. This basically scrolls through the trip menu on the display. If you look at the display, I press it once, it goes to trip 1, press it twice, it goes to trip 2. So it does exactly the same as the buttons on the dash. Go to this button, that's the stability control, switching on and off. Okay, so I wouldn't advise to use it. Just leave it as it is. Indicators as per normal. Just underneath you've got the horn. Don't know if you just see that. There you go. Press it once. It's obviously for the horn. Now you've got two sounds for the horn. You've got that sound, or if you press that button down there, if you press it down, it changes the sound of the horn. Okay, so it's your choice. So that's for that. Now the siren. I showed you the button underneath, what that does. If you press the top button on the siren, you get a wah. Press the sound, you change to a wah wah. Okay? That's exactly the same if you press the button down. Okay? So you now know all of the switches on the bike. Forgot to mention, there is another button, if you just see here. It's not used. It was used by the police for the autocom, switching the autocom on and off, so it's defunct, it doesn't do anything. Right, we're now going to check the fluid levels. You will find that the clutch is a cable clutch, so you don't need to check that. And if you go over to the right hand side on the handlebar, you will see the reservoir for the brake master cylinder. You will see that you've got a minimum line and a maximum line. Just make sure that the reservoir is full. If you go back down the bike, you will see the rear brake reservoir. There's the minimum line, and you can see it's fully topped up. Now, to check the water level, it's a bit more tricky. Now, if you go on the fairing, you'll see the BMW badge. You go a bit to the left, you'll see the reservoir just in there. Okay, now there is, if you, I just should move the torch away. There is, if you look inside, a minimum line and a maximum line. You can just about see minimum there. Okay, and the maximum is just above it there, if you can see it there. So you have to check the water levels there. Use a torch by all means, and you'll find it on the bike. As I say, if I pan out, it will be in that hole there. All right, so that gives you an idea where it is. Just there. Now, you check the water when the engine is cold. Okay, right, the oil is a different thing. If you go around the other side, you will see right, the oil filler is also the dipstick. So if you want to do it, you will see that you have the markings on the bottom. I'm just going to wipe it so you can see it a bit clearer. There you go. It's got the minimum and maximum. Right, to check the oil, you have to do this when the engine is hot. So I will warm the engine up and get back to you. Right, I'm checking the oil level. The manual states that we have to bring the bike up to temperature and then make sure the fan is running for at least 1 minute. You can probably hear the fan is running as we speak. And switch off the bike. Then go down to the oil filler cap. Unscrew it. Now I'm going to have to put the phone down or the camera down while I do this, but basically I'm just wiping the dipstick. Right, sorry about that. Then put the dipstick in the hole and just leave it on the top. Don't screw it in, just leave it like that. After a few seconds, take it out and check the oil level. I don't know whether you can see it, but its oil is near the max, so I'm happy with that. Just screw it back in, make sure it's tight, and that's it. One word of caution, when checking oil levels, make sure the bike is on a centre stand and is on a level ground. Thanks very much. Right, to open the hump is pretty straightforward. You have key lock there, turn the key, hump opens, close it, as per normal. Side stand's a bit tricky to get down when you first use the bike. If you notice, there is a little knob there that you can put your heel or your foot on to bring it down. It's a bit stiff, but just be careful of that because it is in between the gear stick and your footrest. Okay. Petrol tank is in a different position on this bike. If you look here, this is where the petrol tank is on the normal RTs, but on the F800, if you go to the other side of the bike, you will see it by the pannier, the offside pannier. We've attached the pages for checking the brake pads. Trying to film it has been a bit awkward, but we will try and see if we can get it out another time. Pause the video to see both pages.